thing is, you know the background on it.
Yes.
Is there any way that you can do that one?
I'm going to try, yeah.
Okay.
But I have a conflicting meeting that night too.
Okay. Okay. My recommendation, and Councillor Geselbrecht's acceptable to it, is that we do the appointment regarding the library and do the appointment with relation to the City and Animal Parks and Rec. And then Councillor Hain, Councillor Coulson, are you the alternate for Parks and Rec, I guess?
Yep.
Are you around Wednesday night?
Sure.
Okay. So in the event that Councillor Hain can't attend on Wednesday night, then if Councillor Coulson could attend that,
yep,
then that would cover up the District of Lancer Parks and Rec.
Yep.
Good.
Just want to add it, and they have the regular meeting next week
For Parks and Rec.
District of Lancer Parks.
Okay. Okay.
And the MIA is the voting delegate,
Mhm.
and currently the third alternate is Councillor Coulson.
Yes. So we do have somebody there in the event of.
But they need that to be given to the mayor.
Okay.
I think they call them.
So my recommendation is we approve the agenda with the deletion of the appointments except for the first one for the VIRL, and then the third one, which is City and Animal Parks and Rec Commission. And then Councillor Hain, for now, will be as chair of the District of Lancer Parks and Rec, and Councillor Coulson could possibly attend in your absence on Wednesday. Does that sound acceptable?
Well, I was just going to add too, I don't know, I'm the alternate on, I don't know how many things.
Bunch.
Quite willing to give many of that up, or much of that up.
Okay.
The sooner we can get to this, the better.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. So, like I said, item D1 and D3 would remain on the agenda. All the other ones would be carried forward to a future meeting in October.
In October, that's what.
Yes. Yes.
Is that going to also include the library appointment? Is that going to be re-examined in October?
Yes, certainly. Yeah. Basically, any of them could be revisited at any time, so we would do that. Recognizing the council stepping up at this moment on a short period of time. So, if we could get a motion to approve the agenda with the deletion of those appointments that are being carried forward to October. This is where one of, unless somebody has other additions or deletions. Moved by Councillor Hain, seconded by just the regular agenda. Correct. Seconded by Councillor Coulson.
Yep.
Discussion. Okay, hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Approval of minutes, July the 20th, 2015, special council meeting minutes. Councillor Coulson. All right. 4 o'clock. Sorry.
Question. I wasn't a councillor at that point in time. If I abstain, I'm voting in favor.
Yes.
So I can vote yes, no, or abstain.
Yeah, abstentions technically are, if you're here, you vote yes or no. And if you don't raise your hand, it's viewed as yes. Yeah. So the July 20th, 2015 special council meeting minutes. We need a motion to approve. Councillor Coulson, seconded by Councillor Hain. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. August the 25th, 2015 special council meeting minutes. Councillor Hain. Need a second, Councillor Coulson. Discussion? Councillor Hain.
I don't know if this is the time we want to talk about it, but there was some comments made with regards to that meeting and the documents running.
No.
Can I not speak to
We'll
that
just
now?
approve the minutes.
When do we do that?
It can come up at other times. But all you're approving now is the minutes themselves. So whether or not they're an accurate record.
No.
Further discussion.
I like Constable. Councillor Fullclough, I was not a member of the council as of that date, and so I will be abstaining as well.
Okay. Yes.
I just wanted to reiterate that there's no abstention. Everybody, if you don't raise your hand, just have to vote in favor. The legislation anticipates the potential that there could be a completely new council during an election, and that next council has the authority to approve the minutes. You're considered to be a continuing body, so everybody has to vote.
And do recognize that voting with respect to the minutes doesn't mean agreement with the items within the minutes. It's just acceptance of the document itself, similar to the idea of that motion to receive. Okay, any further discussion on the August 25th, 2015 special council meeting minutes? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. August the 31st, 2015 special council meeting minutes. So, Councillor Cole, you're gonna have trouble with that.
Yeah.
Copeland. Seconded by Councillor Geselbrecht. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, presentations. Wellfield Management Plan Stage 2 presentation by Coors Engineering and staff. Rob.
Mayor King, is this the same presentation I was given on July 20th? Correct. With a few
Basically with some tweaks. Yeah.
Basically the same slideshow. So good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents. Thank you for inviting me tonight to basically go over the same report that we issued last July. As just noted, we've updated a little bit, added a few more clarifications. Why can everyone hear me? Good. Okay. So, study purpose. Study purposes, there's 5 main purposes. First one was to assess the present and future capacity of the district's water supply source, that being the Harvey Road aquifer, that most people here are probably familiar with. Second step was to review the historical demands and compare those demands with other local municipalities of Vancouver Island. By water demands, I mean the actual use by the customer as measured by the district. Third main purpose was to review and compare these design standards, and review and compare design standards with other local municipalities. Design standards are the target or the threshold that municipalities look for assessing design conditions. The fourth one was to analyze the ability of the water distribution system to deliver present and future domestic fire flows throughout the system. And the fifth one, probably the biggest takeaway, is the recommendations to maintain adequate service for the district, both now and in the future. So again, this proposal, or pardon me, presentation is 5 main components. The first one being water supply, basically the well field capacity. Water usage, how much is used and where in the district. The issues associated with servicing additional properties within the district of Ranto's water service area. The infrastructure works, the assets that the district has to transfer and supply that water to residents. And last section will be discussion on the recommendations that we included in the report. So, part 1, water supply. District well field, its location, pumping rates. The well field basically has 2 main components: the aquifer, which is the ground that supplies the water, and the wells that mechanically extract that water from the aquifer. So we'll talk about the aquifer's characteristics and the yield or the amount of water that aquifer can supply. Alright, so this is an aerial view of the well field. Recognized Highway 19, Harvey Road, and then wells number 4, 9, 6, and 12. So on the right hand side of the slide, you'll see for each well the date that it was drilled, and its rated capacity to supply water. And also on the screen, you can see the Bear Road Reservoir, which is the main reservoir supplying the Lancel has two water zones. The lower zone, which is basically anything north of the industrial park, industrial park, everything north. And the upper zone, which is the Winchelsea area, everything on the south side of the industrial park. So water is basically pumped from the aquifer, the series of 4 wells, up to the reservoir, where it's treated with chlorine. Given enough contact time, it flows down by a separate distribution main to feed the lower zone. Also in that lower reservoir is a pump station, which supplies water to an upper reservoir that feeds the upper pressure zone. Pretty straightforward system and it seems to work quite well. So this particular slide is actually from the Low-End Hydrology Consulting Report, which is a dependency in our report. This report was done in advance of our study, and it took a good hard look at the aquifer. It ran a series of tests and made some general conclusions and recommendations for the district to consider when managing its aquifer. So this particular aquifer that the district uses is known to the Ministry of Environment. It's called 215. Groundwater levels in this zone tend to fluctuate throughout the year, which makes sense. When it rains lots, water levels come up. If it doesn't rain, water levels go down. Down below is a little cross section, which represents a cross section of the aquifer. You can kind of see sort of in this area where the wells are at the relative depth. You can see the overlying soils. You can see the lateral flow. You can see the permeable aquifer that conveys the water. On the upstream side, you can see the bedrock, sort of, which pinches out as it goes towards the south. So the recharge of an aquifer is kind of a function of a few different things. A function of the size, the catchment area, a function of the precipitation, or snow or rain that falls within that catchment area, drains into the aquifer. This particular aquifer also has contributions from the bedrock on the upstream side as the water makes its way through the bedrock and eventually trickles into the soils. So this particular chart here is there's a lot of information on it, but the main takeaway points on this one are for each well and state, it gives you an idea of where the water level depth is below ground, the depth of the well, the size of the horsepower of the pump. So the bigger the pump, the more you convey. This particular column here is the estimated capacity of all wells operating simultaneously with each other. And then over on this column, and this is kind of the crux of the investigation, this is the potential of each well, how much water could probably pump simultaneously without interfering with the other wells if given the opportunity. So you can see down below here, right now, the district is extracting about 2,000 cubic meters a day of the aquifer. Given some improvements, bigger units redevelopment, it's estimated you can increase that by 400 cubic meters. So this slide here has some definitions which are kind of boring but important today in terms of what hydrologists utilize and look at when they're grading wells. So the long-term safe yield is defined by extrapolating the pump test to 100 days of pumping, calculating the specific capacity of 100 days, and utilizing the safe available drawdown. The way it was explained to me, and I did talk with hydrologists today, to let them know what we're talking about is findings. If you run the pumps 24/7 for 100 days, and you draw down water from the static level to the top of the aquifer, that's the well rating. That's what the Ministry of Environment uses as criteria. I said, well, what kind of factor of safety is that generally? The number is generally about 30% safety factor on that. So, and the number I mentioned previously was 24/24, the built-in inherent factor of safety is associated with it. And then the safe available drawdown, just mentioned, depending upon the distance between the static water level or where the water sits normally in the ground, will service at the top of the aquifer, which is where the water bearing strata sits. Okay, so Second part, we'll talk about water demands. The district is historically used. It consists of annual, which is over the year, monthly, the average day, maximum day demands. We'll talk a little bit about revenue versus non-revenue water, water demand by land use, and then the last item, design demands, which is not exactly what you're using, but what your targets might be. Okay, so there's a lot sort of going on this chart here, but the main sort of thing to realize is that the top line here is kind of a line population of land soil based upon, I think, some stats answered it. So on the right hand column, you can see population. So you can see over the last 10 years, the population has fluctuated without a lot of growth. The green bars are the total annual demand of the system, how much water land soil is pumped out of its aquifer. Notice that there is a bit of a gap here. I think the rationale for that is that in those 3 years, there was maybe a little bit of a problem with the data that didn't enable a decent comparison, so we've got those figures out. But you can see over the last, since 1996, or 18 years, the general use of water kind of decreased a little bit in Lansdale, which is, given the population being considerable, kind of leads one to consider the conservation measures and people's behaviors that have modified over the years. A little harder to see, but sort of buried down below in red are the maximum day demands. Maximum day demands are the amount of water the district uses on its heaviest demand period, heaviest day in the summer. So typically it's July or August when it's hot out and people are using the water for irrigation and whatnot. So as you can see, there's a bit of a gap. I think the reason for that is that the data we have is probably at the interval level and just didn't reveal the meaningful comparison. But over the last few years, you can kind of see that it's been a little bit of up and down on the max investment for gross day in the year. And then in blue, you see the average day from that, which is basically annual demand divided by the number of days in the year. So it should be kind of consistent with the green lines. Again, we're in sort of 600, 700 cubic meters each day. So this chart represents comparison of monthly demand over the last 4 years. So as you can see, it's a little bit hard to see. Well, it's blue to me. Green, a little bit of green, a little bit, it's kind of like that press slide on the internet. But I guess you can sort of put 2011 is on the far left and 2015 on the far right, so you can kind of use that as a comparison. But I guess the point of this graph is to show you that you use most of your heavier demand uses during the summer, which makes sense. So from May, July, and then back down in September, that's where your heavier use months are. Okay, this graph is a little more involved. What it's meant to convey is a comparison between what you can convey from the aquifer with your current pumps, what you can really pump the additive. And it compares that to what's being used on your maximum, or pardon me, on a daily basis. This is over a 4-year period from 2011 to 2015. In these boxes, you'll see the highest number for any given year. And those are your maximum day demands. So that's when you're stretching the system, or pardon me, using the system at its highest. So again, you can see the kind of increases over the summer periods. There's still plenty of room between what you're using on that day and what you pump into the system on that day. So this chart here is basically a breakdown between what you pump and deliver into the system and what you get the bill for and recover for your customers. So we'll call it revenue and non-revenue. So the blue part is that's what shows up on people's invoices and that's what they pay. The red chunk there, smaller chart part, is non-revenue. doesn't get collected. There's a variety of reasons for that, which is explained on the next slide. So non-revenue water encompasses unbilled off-house consumption and apparent and field system losses, which may consist of water main flushing and sewer main flushing. This is part of the area management assets. Fire department training after firefighting, which is pretty important. Public boulevard and playfield irrigation after district treatments and utilize. It could be metering inaccuracies, variation in meters between what's actually going through and what's being recorded. Perhaps in some extreme cases water theft, and then also leakages on the transmission distribution lines, or even on the service pipes from the main people's yards. Right. Revenue water 2014. So, the purpose of this slide is to show you who's using the water. And probably no surprise that the lion's share of it, over close to 90% is used by residential single family. Good customers, which that's looking a bit of a better community as well as single family relative to other types of land use. So really you've got a little bit of industrial, which represents the light industrial area of the highway, a little bit of public use, a little bit of commercial use in the corner, and then some other types of residential, whether it be residential, commercial, or other types of residential zoning. This slide represents a little bit of a breakdown as to how the single family customers come to play. The dash lines show that the average single family residential usage is under 200 cubic meters a year. So like in any system, you've got some people who use less than the average, and then some people who use more. So as you slide along, this is the number of customers in the system. This is the demand of that connection. So see there's sort of a small band of customers that pretty heavy water users for whatever reason. Demand by land, this story gets a little bit interesting. So in the course of work on Vancouver Island, we've done water studies for other municipalities, some of similar size, some of larger size, and being able to kind of compare how Landsville fits in. So when you look at annual metered water demand and break it down for single family dwellings, compare it to other municipalities, you can kind of see where Landsville fits in. Tofino kind of being close to a low use, and then sort of up in Comox Valley, near the higher. So you can see Landsville doing its fair share of the water conservation. Commercial is always a little bit harder to compare and contrast because the nature of commercial is quite variable. Some commercial users use a lot of water as part of the process, and some not so much. So this chart speaks to per capita demand, not per connection demand, but per capita demand. Once you start tracking water used by each person in the system. So again, we have a ranking of municipalities on the left-hand column here. You can rank according to their 2011 population. So we've got Cold River near the top and then Manana at the bottom. We don't always get an apples-to-apples comparison because sometimes you don't get a distinction between residential and total use for different places. But I think the main takeaway on this slide is that residential average liters per capita per day. Landsville's got a pretty low usage. And we look at maximum day, which is the heaviest in that day. Again, it's close. It's pretty lean compared to some of the other places. This is based upon demand, actual use. So this chart speaks to design demands. So this isn't what people actually use. These are the design constraints or requirements that municipalities place upon their system. Developers come along and want to extend the system. Municipalities use this as a planning tool to say, well, we add so many lots to the system. How much more water should we plan for? To supply, distribution, storage, firefighting, things of that nature. So, comparing Landsville other neighbors in their island, Fairwinds, off the beach, to see that, you don't have the lowest standard, and again, you don't have the highest standard. And this 1,880 liters per cap per day is kind of a conversion of a half gallon a minute per connection. Density of 2.4, I believe, which discuss that. So there's some variance in that number, but it's just purpose of the slide to show you how that's design scheme works. And just at the top there, MMCD, that's not a municipality, but it stands for Master Municipal Construction Documents, which is it's sort of a design standard that municipalities across the Lower Mainland, some of Vancouver Island have adopted as their standards. So it's a useful comparison. So this part of the proposal will talk about the issues and logistics about servicing additional properties within the landfill, including the area, the water service area that's defined by the additional community plan. Basing our kind of logic on 2014 demands that we've studied. Also, we've taken into account design and land conditions across various municipalities. A little bit of discussion of water conservation that the BC government is making municipalities aware of, and just a brief discussion of climate change. So this map might be a bit hard to read, but basically I have a picture of the district and a full blue line which defines the water service area under the official community plan. And so that's a fairly big area, but obviously most people know that the water system doesn't cover all this area. And now the water system covers about 885 lots, which is kind of sort of in the lower Lansdale and Chelsea area. So also sort of in that OCP area, there's about 441 lots that are developed and have houses on them, or could have houses on them, but they're not connected to Lansdale water. So they consist of areas like in the Elm Road, Bulge Road area, in the Northland Southland area, and sort of Bayview Drive here on the west end of the system. Also included in that OCP area are sort of two larger developments that are proposed but haven't been built yet. One being the Lansdale properties, which is centered around Railroad, and then of course the Foothills, which is a large development within the upper zone. There's a lot going on in this chart here, but the main purpose of this chart is to give you some idea of comparison. Let's look at the threshold of what the well field is capable of supplying, 2,000 cubic meters per day. And look at the lighter blue is average data demand, and the darker blue is maximum data demand. So if you just took the existing system as it is now, you'll find that maximum data demand are less than what the well fields can pump, and maybe what Capricorn could supply. And then these next areas here kind of represent each sort of area and its potential contribution of sort of strain on the system. So you've got the north and southland area with 190 lots, using the same kind of demand characteristics that would add up to a certain amount of usage. Same with the Old Elm Road area, the Clark Blackjack area, the Owen Road area, the Bayview Park area, Fernmar Road area, which kind of corresponds to the previous map. So in theory, if you were to take all these neighborhoods that exist, connect them to the existing system, add all that up, you'd probably be a bit higher than what you're likely to pump. You'd be less than what the well would probably produce. So to the right of that are two more sort of blocks, the Foothills, 730 lots, and then the village, the Lansdale Foothills developments. So if you add these two sort of new potential developments to the existing neighborhoods that aren't connected, you sort of end up with this column here, which is obviously a lot higher than what you can pump or the average for But it's kind of a bit of a caution because these aren't the design standards right now. It's just sort of a snapshot of what the district is using and what the well fields can provide. Yeah, it could provide, but it's sort of a theoretical number that there's a bit more discussion. This graph is sort of similar to the last graph, but we sort of added everything up. We said, okay, well, under average day, we took every single neighborhood and the new project or the new developments. How would that fit in under well fields capacity, the aquifer's capacity? And under average day, which is just all your usage, but average out over the year, like JN, that doesn't give you a lot of assurance on the heavy use days. So this middle column is sort of the maximum days. So again, you exceed potential demand exceeds expected supply. This last column here is just maximum day, but kind of spread over the maximum week, so you get a little more smoothing of the peak. Okay. So what we tried to do, and we're sort of in a little bit of uncharted waters here because we're thinking, okay, well, we've had this design standard for a while, and how applicable is it to our modern system? What are the options for the district as it moves forward? So what we've done is we've kind of looked at design standards broken down per connection for different areas. If you were to pick one as a standard, so you kind of see the Nanaimo, Fairwinds, Parksville district as well with its on-site well requirement, Walton Beach. As you go from left to right, the standard gets a little higher. And then on the left-hand side of the column, so what kind of pumping rate is available? So we started off with 1421, kind of the maximum day of 2014, and then just kind of kept pumping it up until we got closer to the theoretical aquifer rate. So as you kind of move from left to right, you see that the number of connections, as you hold the pumping rate steady and dial up the demand, the number of connections you can theoretically support is less. And you hold the demand, design standard constant and keep pumping up your supply rate, the number of connections gets higher. So where's the real answer? It's somewhere in the middle. So just some comments on the BC Living Water Smart program. In 2008, the provincial government launched Living Water Smart BC, emphasizing water conservation. Sort of a tool, okay, the provincial government said, okay, you want money to upgrade your plants, build new reservoirs, and supply mains, but maybe before we give you that money or sell that money, you should look at cutting back usage to be a little more frugal, conservative with your consumption. So one of the takeaways is the program requires 50% of new municipal water needs to be acquired through conservation by year 2020. So things like the roads, those rails, and that sort of thing, that's sort of driven by this program. I'm not sure if it's going to be applied to groundwater licensing, which is kind of a new provincial requirement. There's a new act that came out last year that requires, up until then, anyone could drill a well and have a well and get water from the ground. Given that, need for same resource demand going up. Provincial government came along, and after some years of study and stakeholder consultation, this licensing program said, okay, if you got a groundwater well, you need to get a license on it. You need to know where it is, what you're extracting from the aquifer. So just a brief note on climate change. I mean, for those, some people embrace it, some people are skeptical. We've worked on a few studies in a few other municipalities, storm sewer studies, sanitary sewer studies. We've had a few people come in and give us discussions what prevailing science is. The short answer is it's a moving target, but there is evidence that the annual temperature in Canada has warmed by a higher rate than most other regions of the world. So what does that mean? Well, in the future, what can we expect? Heat waves, heavy rainfalls, related flooding, dry spells or droughts, forest fires. So what does that mean on the aquifer? Well, I guess that remains to be seen, but what we've been told more than once and by more than a few individuals is that you can expect drier summers, which should hit home a little bit after this summer, wetter winters. So, maybe the same amount of rain over the year, but it's quicker in the winter, less in the summer. Okay, so part 4, this is kind of the infrastructure works. This is the investment. This is where the district decides how to utilize this money and its capital investment. So, reservoir storage volumes. Like I said before, the district has 2 reservoirs. One of those reservoirs is located off Falls Road. It's an older reservoir. It's built in the 70s, so built to a different standard, a different grade. So we took a look at, well, how big does that reservoir need to be? Or actually, recommendation to replace this reservoir is nothing yet. It's been on the to-do list for a while. Not so much just because of its age, but also because of its size, its height, and its location. So, just a little bit of background on how one size of the reservoir. It's basically a component of your fire flow, how much fire flow you think you'll need to fight a fire in that area. Maximum day demand of what we connect to that reservoir. And then a third component, which is the percentage of the first 2 factor safety. So because the upper reservoir primarily feeds in the Chelsea area, which is primarily single-family homes, it has a fire flow rating of 75 liters per second per 2 hours with 1,000 trivial gallons per minute. So if you kind of run through the math based upon 2014 needs, you take the amount of flow you need for amount of storage you need for fire flow, maximum day, emergency storage, come up with a storage volume of just under 800 cubic meters. The current volume is 240 plus or minus, so we have a bit of a deficit that we'll get there. And then moving forward in the year 2014, as demands could pick up depending on what happens and the design standards that we apply with the district. The fire flow is probably going to remain the same unless there's some land use changes in the upper zone. We're sort of looking at target anywhere between 700 and 900 cubic meters of storage. Okay, so the other reservoir on Ware Road, probably driven by it. It's newer. It was built in 2006, so it's not even quite 10 years old. And it was about a 4-fold improvement on the previous reservoir on that site. This is a partially buried concrete structure. So again, kind of going through the same components, but you'll notice that the fire rating for this reservoir is a fair bit higher. It's also a bit of a target because the reason being is that the lower reservoir it feeds the downtown area, which is commercial buildings. Commercial buildings are inherently a lot more variable than single-family residential because they can be bigger, more floor area, closer together. So it's actually a bit of a specialized calculation design to figure out a fire flow for a brand new commercial building. What we found is it's a bit of a guess to figure out what the existing buildings need, so we gave a bit of a range. We did note that in 2014, our Underwriters Society did a survey and published sort of certain values on their criteria, which were a bit different than ours. So I guess the long and short of it is by the time you figure in the fire flow need, the maximum day demand, put in the factor safety, you get a bit of a range of storage volume. So you look at the current volume, you might have a bit of a deficit, a big deficit, depending on how much money you want to invest in. The thing with commercial properties is going to be designed to kind of sort of skew the results. Things like sprinklers, we have a big impact whether they're building as fire sprinklers in them or not. Having a sprinkler in a building and reduce fire flow. So I guess where that's going is, the other thing to note is because the upper zone feeds the lower zone, there is some benefit for augmentation because during the fire flow conditions, the lower zone can call water directly from the upper zone. pressure reducing valve on Sierra Road, National Road. So the long and short of it is that, now until a target gets selected, the district's in reasonable shape. But moving forward, there's some question marks as to what kind of target the district should aim for. It's a bit variable in the project, so there's no discussion. So recommendations. In table 31 of our report, we gave a fairly long shopping list of things that the district may want to consider, but the main sort of important ones are secure your groundwater license, which is carbon, that's really straightforward, but important task. The other one that has a large bang for your buck is increasing production of well. There's one well that's underperforming, well under 6. It's believed that if you replace well with something bigger, deeper, larger, and more horsepower, you can probably tap the aquifer and supply more water to your reservoirs. The other 3 wells, you don't need to be replaced, but you could be sort of used in redeveloping them, which over time, it's like anything with mechanical performance needs shift and replacement and development well needs flushing the lines away, maybe replacing the screen and cleaning. It's like cleaning up a filter, getting a little bit more water into the well. So those are sort of 2 important areas to concentrate on. I think if the district wants to kind of find and secure water that has sort of launched forward. The other main items are reservoir storage volumes starting from the upper reservoir. So that has a huge impact on both providing a little bit more storage during the hot summer days, and also providing water to the lower side if you might need it. And also just putting in a facility that can be considered more seismically acceptable, post-disaster resilient. In the lower reservoir, I think once target fire flow kind of talked about in 3 to the discussion in that arena. The other takeaway is creating water mains to improve fire flow capabilities and replacing the leaching asbestos in that water main. So, some people are aware that a lot of the water mains installed in the 70s, asbestos in that was pretty popular building tool, because most people probably realize asbestos is not really considered. It has health issues, not so much as the water main, but when it gets exposed. But the other thing what you see is over time, you become a little more fragile, especially in those rocky areas where many samples can be pegmatite. So between replacing sort of old mains, which is part of your sort of overall infrastructure renewal program, taking an opportunity to upsize in key areas, improve the fire flow to higher use areas in the village core. And then the other one is secure additional water supply sources in order to service the properties with the water service area, which is sort of an ongoing discussion. So I think that's kind of brief Coles Notes version of the report. I don't know if questions or comments if people far away or kind of way too much detail in everyone's report, or maybe more questions around.
Thank you, Rob. Questions from council? Comments or otherwise? Councilor Hain.
Well, thank you for coming. Good to hear it again. Gives us a chance to process it some more. I guess we probably don't have water results for 2015 yet. So we'll see first.
I think we've got sort of a monthly total, so we haven't had a question in detail. We tried to probably speak to the EC for the last 3 or 4 months.
We were actually, our levels were quite high, getting to stage 4, and then the levels actually went down to normal usage at that time. So July 11th is the graph I have. Finally then July 11th, just back down to the last 4 years.
I was heartened to see that if we do a little bit of rehabilitation on our wells, we could potentially get more water supply. Because I heard from a number of residents that they thought the stage 4 water was quite a burden on the community. With trees, you see them going down the roads, dying, and shrubs, and people couldn't water their gardens. So if there is some excess water, then perhaps we can hold off on the stage 4 a little bit and give that to existing residents. Just a couple questions, just so I'm clear, and I'm not very good at this stuff. The All Road Reservoir is run on Councillor Colclough property, is that right?
Correct, that's kind of how we refer, even though they're both kind of adjacent to Falls Road. Falls Road is referred to one on Councillor Colclough's property, and the Ware Road is sort of right at the intersection of Ware Road and also
Okay.
concrete line.
I thought we were thinking of taking that one out, not expanding it. I thought that was sort of,
Sorry, yeah, I guess that's what I meant is replacing.
so replace that one with a bigger reservoir in the same location.
Wherever you can get one.
It's a bigger reservoir.
Bigger
Location's a separate discussion.
Oh, it is not in the same location, then we haven't got to make that
I haven't
decision
got
yet? Oh,
something that would service the top water level. Because I think there's a couple of things you need to do. You need to have something bigger, but you also need to have it a bit higher. Because some of the properties in the upper part of that zone, they have low pressures. So if you're able to increase the water level by 50 or 60 meters, you can really improve a lot of efficiencies in that area.
okay, so that's like when you say,
Should be replaced. Yeah, the intent isn't to add on to it. I don't think that's quite feasible. Just looking for that kind of consideration.
so when you say that basically it's undersized to meet existing condition design criteria and has to be increased, that's what you're talking about, is replace that, okay.
Any questions, comments? Councillor Gizmo?
Going back to revenue and non-revenue water, there's 22% that's missing, right? Now on the next page, you have, sounded to me fairly hypothetical reasons why that water is missing. Where did you get that information as to the potential places that that water's gone missing? Is that just standard possibilities, or is that information that was given to you?
It's pretty difficult. I mean, obviously fire flows aren't metered. They go you're fighting a fire or you're doing
But you don't have any information as to how much water the fire department uses on Monday night practice.
we don't measure it. It's just one of the potentials.
So you don't have any real hard numbers as to why or where that water is missing
We
from.
can't pinpoint the exact number, the exact location, but we do know that not all the water gets filled. And that's one of the sources.
So that's 22% of revenue we're not getting to on this now.
Sure. We actually do have a pretty good idea where the water's going. I keep track of that throughout the year. And right now, a lot of the loss, the non-revenue water is the flushing of the sewer lines and the water flushing that's mandatory by VHOG. Actually, that's twice a year we're supposed to flush. And then there's the fire hall usage, which is usually worth 50% of that total loss. Right now, the unknown loss that we have is about 7.8%, which is extremely good for a system right now.
But my question is, do we meter the flushing or meter the fire hall use?
We don't meter it, but our SCADA system identifies different spikes every time we turn on a fire hydrant. So we pull those numbers from that SCADA system.
But it's not metered.
There's no actual meter.
Just one more question, I'll be brief. This standard, design demand for very government municipalities, you talked about this number 1380, which I forget what that stands for, but it translates down to half gallon per minute.
It's roughly equivalent.
Would you agree with me, but there's no provincial standard, no provincial legislation which mandates that number?
I believe that the design standard is up to the municipality.
But there's no provincial standard. There's
We
no,
have guidelines.
that could be easily be half of that.
But I believe right now that is the guideline.
That is the guideline, but there are other municipalities that don't use that. So if we were to reduce that design guideline demand, that would translate into having more water for more connections, for more development potentially. I think we disagree.
Councillor Colson?
Two things. Back to the metered, non-metered water. I forget the other fellow that presented. It was Chris and... Okay, two Chris's. He mentioned that for municipalities, for metered systems, 20 to 25% is typical for losses. Getting below 15% is very expensive. Didn't get any numbers, but those were his comments, if that helps.
Yeah, no system is 100%.
Yeah, yeah. I had a question. I see there's the cost data here in one of the revised pages for supplying water to the winds. Had a question on the number of lots or the area that's servicing.
Which page is that?
Page 31 of our agenda.
Some replacement pages. For
Yeah,
the-
in our actual agenda package. No, in our agenda
An
package.
updated map supplied with each agenda.
My question is though, the numbers that you spoke of were 190 lots. In the big report we have in the appendices A, so I'll just show it up. It shows this red block as being the area for the winds, and that's just north wind and south wind. I don't even think the winds and rain. So I was curious as to the area that cost number was covering, and ultimately the number of lots it was
I
servicing.
believe there was an updated copy of the map that was generated to show the water system into, and maybe it was already on the original map back when we were at Steeler.
Okay, yep.
Pull that out.
Okay, yep. Oh, the dotted lines here.
Yeah, so part of the reason for that cost is just cost in front of everybody's house in the north and south, at least with area. But also the connection they connected to the grid, which currently ends part of the east there.
So that's the whole dotted line going down. Okay.
One of the questions, do you have any explanation why the MSTD number is so low?
Good question. Maybe because it's driven by the lower mainland.
Yeah.
And maybe because out of the smaller lots.
Yeah.
Guess. Really guess.
Yeah, it's just significantly low.
Is it based on a single family residence?
I believe that one is.
That's 600? Because that was one of my questions. It is so much lower. Mr. McCray?
Yes, with your worship, the Director of Public Works indicated that irrigation is not taken into that account. Irrigation is
Oh, okay. So that's just actual in-the-house consumption? Okay. They don't have yards. Okay. Councillor Colclough, anything addition? Okay. I had a couple, and Councillor Colclough covered one of mine. On the OCP water service area, you've got a total of 2,355 lots. Just confirming that does not include a developable area on Clark Med or the G property.
Okay, so Clark, so the G property is off Superior, correct?
Yeah.
Improvements in there?
originally it was the information supplied. Should be.
I'm just looking at the number of lots though, and it doesn't seem to be there because 885 is what we already serviced. The 441 is already developed. Then the 239 I would take to just be the village core projects, and then the 790, which I'm not sure why it's not 730, but 790 for foothills seems to be missing those larger parcels, which, as they're currently zoned, have some residential development capacity.
Do you know how much?
I don't know the size, but some of them, like I think the one on the Med and the Clark one, are probably regular single-family residential. So whatever their acreage is, cut it to like half-acre lots, and you're there. And the G, I don't know whether that's RU right now or.
Yeah, so if I understand your question, it's, even if the property shaded, is that counted as one or is estimate it could be.
Yeah.
I believe if it's just looking under development, it's just as it is today.
Okay.
That's my understanding, but I guess.
Okay, so one lot, one connection kind of an idea?
Yeah, I guess, the ones that sort of, those two future developments that we spoke about.
Yeah.
They're obviously large parcels, but each one under their post-development stage.
And in a lot of reports, that's the way they're shown. They are shown as if they've been developed to the current zoning. But those other ones seem to be kind of left out.
Yeah, and that's a good point. I mean, I guess we could keep that number to fluctuate, that's what we want.
And recognizing water service up to the wings, if it's going past the G property,
Yeah, that's,
what the incentive would be. My only other question, just on the climate change one, where there's mention of the drier summers and the wetter winters, recognizing basically our aquifers, the bowl, my understanding is, overflows in the winter. Even if it rained more during the winter, would we actually get more water supply?
or we just leak through the system.
Or would it just disappear over the edge of the bucket?
I mean, one of the takeaways is that there is bedrock feeding the aquifer, so some of that slowly make its way into the aquifer.
So that might provide some additional capacity. Councillor Copa?
Just to add to that, from some of the stuff that I've read, if it does end up being drier in the summer, wetter in the winter, it doesn't affect surface supplies as much because we're capturing it in a lake. But in a groundwater situation, you could end up with less water because those peak storms, you get much more runoff down the ditch.
The ground can absorb.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Councillor Hain?
Yeah, just two follow-up comments. Climate change is going to be interesting, especially when we start talking about changing standards. Again, it'll be that discussion between, how far do you go and put the residents at risk, and they could probably do this themselves. And then also, thank you for providing the numbers on the cost of the wind. Because based on the Nanaimo Water Agreement, 140 lots can be serviced there. So now we're looking at about 37,000 approximately per lot to get water. So it's nice for people now to have a dollar number that they can put context to. Have we done any work on water quality and quantity issues for any of the areas in the district?
Water quality?
Like how much water, there's a lot, like right now we talk about water for areas, but do we know what their needs are? Have we done anything on needs?
No, what we would look at is just our standards
Just sort of follow up on your question there, just for clarification. Like I think our report, the follow-up components to it, they did show the costing to extend the water system to the limit, but also there's upstream costs in the existing part of the system that really need to come to play before you fix the water system.
Well, who's going to pay those, right?
Well, that's the question. And one of those being the reservoir.
Well,
The
yeah,
reservoir.
yeah.
Maybe you're going to need that storage height before you start extending the upper zone.
But that wasn't one of the costs you listed in.
There's costs in there, and I think there's a paragraph previously that kind of describes sort of the steps
Yeah.
we should consider before extending the water system into that area.
Oh, yeah.
So it's above and beyond just extending the water main. There's some upside that needs to happen within the existing sales area. That's not to say it couldn't be part of your regular AC renewal. But also the reservoir, that's a key component. That's something that has to be really discussed and then considered before a lot of these other activities take place.
I agree, 100%. Thank you.
But further to Denise's comment there, we haven't done a water survey in that area to identify the number of people with bad quality wells in terms of water quality or quantity. Can't answer that question. So I would hope that's something we as council and the district do before we consider spending $3.8 million to do such thing.
Any further? Councillor Scott?
As a site to add, can you expand on what you mean by securing additional water sources for the district? Some lots.
Yeah. So, part of that is, you have the opportunity or the ability to implement redundancy to your system. That's never really a bad thing. So if the opportunity comes up for another source, it's the overall agenda, and from an engineering, how do you put it factors the safety, how do you provide redundancy when emergency happens in one area, then what's your backup plan? It's kind of without having all your eggs in the basket. So whether that's other municipalities, other sources that come available to the district, it's just something to keep in the back of your mind.
Sorry, Rob. Do you guys see that much, like Coors, with the work you do? Do you see many municipalities with a redundant source of some appreciable contribution?
So your question is, do other municipalities have surface and groundwater supply?
Whatever the source would be,
Like a second supply.
a second supply.
Yeah.
Do you see that in many places?
I mean, for example, when your neighbors to the north, they have groundwater wells. That's their primary method of water. But also they have intake cavities on the river.
Okay.
So during times of the year, they have the opportunity to draw water if they need it. And then there's also, again, to our neighbors to the north, there's sort of shared water system responsibilities in the regional district and the city of Parksville or the English River Water Service.
Mr. McRae.
Through your worship, it's very common for municipalities to exert secondary water supplies due to water security, due to redundancy, due to unforeseen issues such as environmental disasters, changing water quality, etc. So it's most municipalities in places on different water systems.
Anything further from council?
So in your professional opinion, would you say that 2 buckets water?
I would say that having more than one option is a good idea.
What's the bucket meter?
That's just one, that's a technical point of view. There are a variety of other factors to consider, which always come into play.
Thank you very much, Rob. Really appreciate it. Okay, it gets us on to correspondence. Now, just for the interest of the new council members, sometimes these are all taken as one. If it's just a case that everybody just wants to do a motion to receive, if there's specific consideration of desired on specific pieces of correspondence, we can do them separately. So, would council like us to do it separately or all together? If people have comments they'd like to make with regards to specific correspondence items. Councilor Colson?
Sorry, I just had a question on item B and the carbon neutrality side of things.
Okay.
I don't know if that impacts how we receive
How
it.
about if we deal with them one at a time, so we kind of have some meetings together on that. So first item from Glenn Brown regarding ABICC member notice update on natural gas operating agreement being provided for information. So what we'd be looking for, unless there was an action to be taken, is a motion to receive. Moved by Councillor Coulson, Colclough, seconded by Councillor Geselbrecht. Discussion. Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item with regards to Green Communities Climate Action Recognition Program, electronic logo files, carbon neutral, etc. Congratulations on achieving 2014 corporate carbon neutrality goal. Provided for information. Councillor Geselbrecht, motion to receive.
Yes.
Okay, seconded by Councillor Colclough. Discussion. Councillor Coulson.
Sorry, through you to staff. How can we achieve that? I'm not sure what that is, and I apologize. I have not read anything that we do on carbon neutrality.
We can provide council with a copy of the report file.
Okay.
I think it was.
Is this something we actively offset in some fashion, or
If
we
don't-
purchase carbon
if we
offsets?
don't
Or?
achieve it through reductions in many ways we can reduce it, whether it's changing lighting, doing
Yes.
carpooling. I mean, there's all kinds of different, heating systems, insulating, things like that. Then if it's not cheap, then there's an offset that has to be purchased.
Right.
And something's not doing that.
Okay. No, it seems like a nice accolade. I'm not aware of how we got there, so thanks.
Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Item 5C, regarding the Medal of Good Citizenship call for nominations closing on September 25th, 2015. So some information on the program being provided for council's interest.
Motion received.
By Councillor Geselbrecht, seconded by Councillor Swain. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. And the last item from Angelique Larson, requesting environmental bylaws to protect trees and ecosystems.
Motion to receive.
By Councillor Geselbrecht, seconded by Councillor Coulson. Discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Next item, Mayor and Council verbal updates. And I'll start to my left there. Councillor Geselbrecht?
I think we need to get to the meat of the agenda. I'm in favor of eliminating this section of the agendas in the future and save that for more comments, questions from the gallery here. And so I have nothing to say other than that.
Okay. Just for information purposes, one of the projects that staff was working on was an updating of the procedure bylaw, so that's something that could be considered at that time. Councillor Coulson.
Sorry, Will. I'm going to use this slot to provide some feedback from the Seaside Community Group. So I'll start with the question of, as their liaison, when, or how would I best do that? I don't know if it's in this section or as an agenda item.
Well, it could always be an agenda item itself if this section itself didn't exist. If it's something that you're looking for action from council in that respect, I suspect council members might want it as an agenda item.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just informational, short and sweet.
Okay. I'd just like to update council of the activities they're up to. Nice group. Sat with them Tuesday or Wednesday this week. Doing some nice things. They're doing some consolidation of the website to try and improve bookings and just presentation, trying to standardize their rates so that there's consistency for booking costs. We talked about their maintenance plan over 10 years, so they're going to take a kick around to that, see if it makes sense to the needs, and then actually, sorry Brad, I sent them your guys' way to talk to Fred about, what they come up with, chat with Fred, and then we can come back to council and talk about the money side of things.
Okay, Councillor, I've got a meeting with
Good. Yeah. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Thanks. Councillor Colclough.
I concur with Councillor Geselbrecht. I think if there's something that needs action or is important to be reported, it would be nice to have it with the agenda package.
Okay. So I suspect that's it for your report. Councillor Hain?
I'm going to disagree with the two because I think information is timely. You meet with someone this week and you could end up waiting 3 weeks before you hear about it, or there could be an event in the community. And I don't have the time to sit and write a whole bunch of reports. That's always big staff. So it's easier to just come and speak to it. So I like this on the agenda. It's spontaneous and usually keep it sweet. My two items are, the first one is a reminder on Wednesday night of the Parks and Rec Town Hall meeting with regards to the Rotary Park redevelopment at 7 p.m. here. I would like to invite all of council and the audience to attend and hopefully get your feedback on that. The commission has been working very hard on that initiative, so they would certainly appreciate if you could attend and give us your thoughts. My next item is I would like to thank the community and all the volunteers for their assistance in another successful Minetown Day. It was a beautiful day, stinking hot. And it was a wonderful event for everyone who attended. Specifically, I'd like to thank the Minetown Day Committee of Brenda Savage, Ardell Ross, Dory Hodges, Joan and Jim Moody, John Colton, and Bob Colcock. I would also like to thank the fire department members, the Lancel Legion, Lancel Rotary, Lancel Historical Society, and the sponsors of the day, specifically the District of Lancel, which funds this for the most part. Coors Engineering, which gives us a wonderful donation every year. We received a donation from Foothills this year. These are all wonderful things. Keller's Jewelry, who sponsors the bike parade. Leg Lumber, who sponsors the nail hammering. Woodgrove Center gets involved. Thirsty Foods, and all the vendors. Without all of these groups coming together, we couldn't make this day possible. And it really is that one time a year where we try to pull as many people together so people can talk and meet. And I think everybody really had a really good time. So I do really sincerely thank you.
Councillor Swain.
I have nothing really to report on, but I'd like to send a thank you to the staff and Public Works for getting the power on, for my town, so you guys got it done in time. Thank you.
For myself, last week, I can't remember which day, Wednesday, I believe, myself and Councillor Hazelbeck actually met with Pam Shaw's new Master in Community Planning class, who did a charrette with regards to the village core and also the Lancewell Projects properties. Myself and Mr. McRae went and attended some presentations on Friday, and I've asked for copies of the presentations, so when I get that, I'll provide those to council so you can see what individuals who had all of 8 hours of community planning experience created. So when you get those, you can see what they did.
What's a charrette?
Anybody from a planning perspective want to explain what a charrette is other than a fancy idea meeting?
A brainstorming session.
Planning meeting.
It kind of is a historic sort of word where they used to actually have a carriage that would go along, like in Preston Buggy Gate, and they would go from one place and have a little meeting and discuss one aspect, and then they go to the next place and discuss the next aspect. So they have different questions they want to get answered at each stage.
And they drink beer and stuff.
And just so you know that Pam Shaw had no carriages. Okay, item 6B, Parks and Rec Commission meeting minutes. So July 23rd meetings received information. By Councillor Hames, seconded by Councillor Gilderoy. Discussion? Hearing none, all is in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Item 7A, the Coors Engineering Study Results, Welfare Management Plan Stage 2. We've been provided some additional or amended pages of the report itself, so we need a motion that council receive. Received by Councillor Haines, seconded by Councillor Gilderoy. Discussion on the amended pages? Hearing none, all is in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Council Orientation Options for Good Governance Workshop. Mr. McRae, would you like to provide us with some information?
Sure, I'll give you the cold ones version of worship. Thank you, Council. This comes back to the province's request for a governance act take place by council. What we would like to propose to council is, after addressing some of the typical things you would do with a governance workshop, that we would ask for council's permission for the following motion. That council direct staff to retain the services of a governance facilitator and organize a council governance workshop, and that the governance workshop have a maximum budget of what we have, and I'm going to pause there, just want to dramatic pause. We've kind of canvassed what these types of governance workshops go for. One of the things that I've identified in looking at some of the common themes, leadership, team building, good governance, clarity of roles and responsibilities, mayor and council, CAO and staff, conflict resolution tactics, effective governance or effective council meetings, and labor relationships. That is why the price range has been left at X. There is some of a disparity between what these governance workshops can go. They're very intense in the last couple of days, ranging in the price of between $7,500 for the low end to about $15,000 on the high end. So I would be asking for council to allow staff to not only retain the governance facilitator by going out to the market and canvassing those that are known governance facilitators, finding out if the council approves the scope that I've provided to allow us to go and pursue that and find the costing for that and achieve the lowest cost.
Okay. So council staff's looking for some direction. Councillor Haines.
Could I ask a question of staff? Could you split out for me the cost of just the governance, have to be a good counselor, that kind of stuff, versus the personal relationship component, just so we have an idea of where the money is going?
Through your worship, that can be done, shall we say, the nuts and bolts version, as council is referring to, can run between $7,500 to $9,000 plus GST, etc. Adding on the relationship component is a 20% maybe markup at that point.
Any other questions, comments? Now, traditionally, with regards to these type of workshops at the start of a new council, there's an opportunity for cost sharing that's occurred in the past. For example, when individuals get elected at a normal time. The opportunity for cost share between Parksville and Qualicum is traditionally what we've done in the past. This one, in relation to the timing, that opportunity does not exist. From my standpoint, I certainly see the value in individuals getting that workshop, like I said, at the regular time. I struggle a little bit with the dollar figure, so that's where I kind of looking to the new councillors as to what kind of guidance they're looking for, recognizing, like I said, the dollar figure relation to this. And maybe, I don't know if you need more description from staff, maybe a written report with regards to the expectations or otherwise. Councillor Coulson?
For what it's worth, too, I've got all of the PowerPoint presentations from the session we attended in November from the LGLA on the 411 site I have. It's got all the presentations for beginner counselor and for a returning counselor. So it's a pretty good set of information there to read through as well, which basically mimics the live presentation.
Okay. Thoughts? Councillor Gizzo.
What's the cost of 2 pints of pale ale over at the pub?
Was that a motion? Councillor Hain?
Given Councillor Coulson's got the PowerPoint, could we not have staff do the orientation for it? They've been through this many times. I think they have the experience. And I could like to spend $7,500 to $15,000. I think they could do it just as well as what we attended in Parksville, no offense.
And I'll sing Kumbaya the Boo.
Entertainment and beer. My comment to that is it does put, recognizing part of the role of the individual doing the presentation is facilitation as well, and promotion of discussion. It does put, and correct me if I'm wrong, it does put staff in a bit of a strange type of a position, recognizing that part of the discussion with regards to governance, for example, involves in relations with staff and dealing with staff. And so effectively, if you have one of the staff members doing the presentation, it just kind of has a weird feel. That's the best way to describe it.
Just as a follow-up, we've had Alison Hacker, who's quite familiar with all this, and she just needed to co-present. Perhaps we could get a better feel on it then, try and save some costs.
Okay. Mr. McRae.
Through your worship, the cost estimate is, as we talked about water heat stick class temp, which is, it's in the ballpark somewhere. What I would be doing is obviously being fiscally conservative on this by looking at someone who can meet the needs without breaking the budget. If we can find somebody who deals with these particular matters and has the reputation for dealing with these in the way that we want to see fit, then that's something I would pursue. If the costs, after I reviewed a few of the estimates and the cost became overly prohibitive, I would bring that back to council for further recommendation if it caused concern.
Councillor Cole.
Well, this is something that's just basically arrived on the table, so it's something I'd like to think about more. I think that it is a lot of money, and there may be some other options. I'd like to have a look at what John's got and maybe suggest that Brad talk one-on-one with each of the councillors and say, where are your priorities? And to see if you can come up with a package that will meet the needs and ideally be less money. My suggestion.
Okay. Councillor Schmidt.
Yeah, I'm not terribly excited about the cost of it, but I do think for this new council to get off on the right footing, I think it's instrumental in that for it. So I think we should explore it. It's a matter of figuring out how much. Again, it's an unfortunate expense, but I think it's a necessary one.
Mr. McRae.
Through your worship, in the comments by council, we could change the motion if that is council, that council direct staff to provide council with copies of governance facilitators with the cost amounts and provide that to council for review. And then council
I'll make that motion.
Moved by Councillor Ginsberg, second by Councillor Colclough. Discussion. Quick question, would that include kind of a scope description of scope and that if expected?
Yes, Your Worship, what I would do is I would be providing, basically going up for an RFQ for request for quote, providing the scope of what I'm looking for a quote, validating the length of
Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, thank you. Gets us to the 2014 annual municipal report. Within our agenda is the annual report itself. With regards to it, the report's been made available for public inspection. It's to be considered a public meeting which public has the opportunity to make submissions and ask questions. Just a question to staff, have there been any sort of written submissions or comments in relation to it?
Your Worship.
Okay. So with regards to the public side, when was it put out?
That was our July 20th.
Notice was published in the Nanaimo News Bulletin, July 30th and August 6th. It's been on the district website and the bulletin board since July 24th.
Okay.
A good
Long
long
run.
offering.
Okay. So this would be an opportunity with regards to public input with regards to the annual municipal report regarding the year ended December 31st, 2014. Okay. Hearing none, basically what we need is a motion from council to receive the annual municipal report. Moved by Councillor Colclough, seconded by Councillor Coulson. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. Thank you. Next item, asphalt replacement tender award. Do note that the second recommendation there should make reference to Sebastian Road, not Tweed Hope Road. In one, the total combined cost of $36,000. So staff is looking for direction with respect to the awarding of the tenders for some paving improvements.
So
Thank you. Both? One? Can we do them both together?
both.
You can do both together or separately.
Councillor Colclough moved both items, seconded by Councillor Swain. Thank you. Discussion. Councillor Colclough.
When?
Short and to the point.
Basically, they will get the notice to proceed tomorrow, and it's usually a week to 10 days.
Okay. Councillor Hain.
Will we be giving notices to the residents just to let them know?
The contractors are always obligated to tender notices at least 48 hours prior.
Okay. Any further? Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. The 2014 or 2016 council meeting schedule. Staff put together a report detailing a schedule to be published for 2016 if acceptable. There is some mention there of various movement of days, some of which includes moving council meetings to Wednesday nights, which is a little bit different for us anyway. So basically what we're doing is we're looking for approval of the 2016 meeting schedule, including those changes and authorizing staff to publish the notice. Councillor Geselbrecht, seconded by Councillor Coulson. Discussion on the council meeting schedule. Hearing none, all those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried. On to our amended item D. Basically what it was is the first one there, the appointment to the VIRL Board of Trustees, and we're looking to, I don't think we need to adjust the alternate, but we're looking to appoint the District Council representative.
Could we adjust the alternate?
No. How's that? It's council's wish.
Sorry?
If somebody makes a motion, we can try.
I would actually prefer not to be on this one, because they meet on Saturdays, and if the occasion arose where I'd have to attend, I probably couldn't. I coach soccer on Saturdays, so I'm really not a good choice for that position.
Just for information, Councillor Hain, how often do they meet?
What's a
Quarterly, I
Monday?
believe. Did you get a ton of emails?
So,
We're talking it up,
So-
aren't we?
should have said that after we voted on that.
yeah.
So this is the one I'm going to.
Yes.
Yeah.
I already did my 20 years of coaching soccer, so.
There you go. There you go. So, just Councillor Coulson recognizing Councillor Geselbrecht's intention expressed to step up in the short term on this. Hopefully, you won't need to be called on.
Yep, okay. We'll revisit this
Yep.
We have a full crew? Yep.
So what we'd be looking for then is a motion to appoint District Landfill representative for VIRL term ending December 31st, 2015, subject to change.
I move that pursuant to the Library Act, council appoints Councillor Kesselberg as the district landfill representative to serve on the Vancouver Island Regional Library Board trustee for a term to be decided. To be used to December 31st, 2015.
Recognizing it can be revisited at any time.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll second that one.
I had someone second himself for an appointment. Sure, let's go with that. I don't think it's illegal. Second by Councillor Geselberg. Are you, I take it you're willing then?
I'm a lawyer, trust me.
All those in, sorry, discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carried.
Is it too early for lawyer jokes?
The other one was the appointment to the City and Animal Parks and Rec Commission. Sorry, Trudy?
On the agenda, there's actually an alternate for the library.
Actually, all we meant to carry forward, in my opinion, to carry it forward was just the appointment of the actual individual. The alternate would remain as Councillor Colson. So, City and Animal Parks and Rec Commission appointment. Councillor Colson?
The council appoint Councillor Mark Swain as the City of Nanaimo representative.
Second of that? Second by Councillor Geselberg. Discussion. Councillor Swain.
Well, thank you, but, can you provide some information to they need a call?
Yeah, they meet on Wednesdays, sometimes at 4 and 4:30, so that can be a bit of an issue. They get a ton of emails too, and they have meetings all the time because you're always going to special events, but it's only short term.
Define all the time.
Well, I had like 4 requests in the last month to go to openings for this and parks.
Oh, okay. So
all
is it,
this stuff.
Mark, you
They're
can
busy.
report back.
But it is what it is.
okay. Councillor Swain?
So in terms of actual meetings that you have to attend, is that once
I
a
believe,
month?
yeah, once a month, and I believe it's at 4:30.
Well, that works.
So is that all right? Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion? And none, sorry.
Sorry, this one also then is with the, member, the alternate will remain in council.
Oh, was it Councillor No. Is she the alternate now?
Somebody in the Nanaimo?
I was the director. That's why I'm getting all the emails.
Well, the director was vacant, he was the alternate.
Oh, okay, that's why you were getting.
Oh, it was Graham.
Yeah.
Did I? Oh, okay.
That's why I moved that. Okay.
So it's fine.
You're okay with that one? Okay. So it's just the actual representative member. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carried. Which gets us down to item 10, public participation. Name and address for the record, please.
Bill Halliwell, 9 Stairs. Just want to talk about that water presentation. A couple of points. In light of the expectancy of wetter winters and hotter summers, and so that we don't end up in a situation level 4 again, is there any way that we can look for grants from federal level or provincial level and look at putting in a really good, decent reservoir so that we capture the water in the winter time or in the wet months and spread it out over a 12-month period? It seems that we're going to get a 12-month amount of water anyway. That it seems to be it's going to be consistent. It's just we're going to get more intense in winter, obviously, which we always do. And the other thing that concerned me was one of our we've got 2 reservoirs, and one of our reservoirs, am I correct in hearing that it's sitting on private land?
Yes. Yeah, the upper one.
And the present councillor's private land? Regardless of whether it's present councillor's private land.
Yes, it's on
I have a
private
bit of
land.
an issue with our public water system being on any private land whatsoever. I think it should be on municipal land. If we own the land and we control it, otherwise I don't believe in giving anyone an arm's length any control over public water.
Okay.
I'd like you to review that, please. And, I think I heard you say you're going to look at building a bigger reservoir or a new reservoir, so maybe you should look at the location first. And, we own the land that it sits on.
In terms of your comments about infrastructure grants and that, yes, they typically do qualify. Whether or not you get one is another question. I don't know if the Director of Public Works wants to comment on the ability to build one big enough to capture the winter weather to help augment the summer.
Well, it would be quite difficult to build something inside that would be required, given the fact that we don't have any information on how long the drought will take or how long we have to store it for. It would be numbers would be
And that's why things like Jump Lake works, just because of the massive size of it.
Well, we are fortunate we have elevation within Lansing.
Yes.
So please take a look at it anyway. I realize it's not much, going to be a lot of money, but thinking of the future.
Okay.
Another issue was irrigation. I thought it was referring to public irrigation. I don't think we do any public irrigation.
And Fred might correct me if I'm wrong, that's just a standard shopping list of common loss of revenue water.
Okay.
It's not a case for watering.
Well, public urination.
Okay, not sure what to do with that.
Another point was, there seems to be room within the present well system to do a bit of tweaking, maintenance and so on, and to get more water for the current residents so that we don't need to ever get to a level 4 again. Before we start talking about using that water availability to further development, I don't think we service the present taxpayers of our community at the moment.
Okay, thank you for your comments. John, if we could kind of let somebody else for a bit and come back to
Thank you
you.
very much. I was going to talk about the workshop, but I think we can
Okay,
stay in that.
thank you. Further public participation. Yes, first.
Hilda Hayden,
Yes.
748 Dickinson, and this is what I came to speak about, but does that make me, after watching this heartening news, that after waiting about 16 years on for a second water hookup, that I may not die waiting? Would I be at the top of the list as I was once promised a hookup, and I said I'd need it at a later date, and then when the later date came, they
I mean, I can't comment on that. As for the timing of the possibility of further connections, that's subject to reports from Public Works and improvements that need to be done to the system and costing of that. So there's still a
But
lengthy
I'm
process.
assuming that you would accommodate those that have been waiting the longest before you would accommodate what they were done,
There is, I'm trying to remember what, there was a policy passed a number, sorry to look at you, Brett. Policy passed a number of years ago that spoke to if we get water, what a process may be, but I don't recall what it was. But it would be something that I believe council would review prior to new connections coming online. Yes, Brett. Yeah, something ringing a bell from a long time ago. It was like 05, 06, something like that. Yeah. Name and address for the record.
Lance Hasselbrock, 7210 Alms Road. Mr. Mayor, based on the information in that engineering report, more specifically the hydrogeologist report, I suggest that you get on the phone tomorrow, call the Nestle Corporation in Fulton, British Columbia, and tell them to move their plant here to Lansdale, because that is how much extra water you have available to you. Seriously, based on the technical information that you paid for by your consultants and the recommendations they've given you, every single person in Lansdale that would like a water connection, and anyone that has property that is subdividable, except for Lansdale Project and Lansdale Foothills, would have available water connections. You have the capacity to provide them with water connections. And the report shows that. It's clear there. There's a lot of issues with your well field and the maintenance, and that can be cleaned up in a relatively short time. But the capacity is there. It's always been there. It's unfortunate it's taken so long for this report to be prepared. The information was initially presented to the district in the EVA report of 2002. And this report just kind of confirms what was presented 13 years ago. So I would suggest that you act upon the information that you paid for, listen to your consultants that, have guided you and telling you how much capacity you have. But it's there. You don't need any other source of water. You have it in the 4 wells that you're producing from right now.
Okay. Thank you. Additional public participation.
Sure.
Mr. Savage.
Graham Savage, 665 Public Drive. I'd like to formally congratulate the new council members. Mary's here tonight, and welcome to the CEO. I would hope that this new council can continue with the initiatives that were generated through the 2011-2014 council. Those are all progressive initiatives to enhance the life of the people in this community. The wellfield study was initiated by the council. The application for the sewer grant, connection to the landfill water, and the grant for the sewer. So I would hope that this council continues with those positive initiatives.
Thank you. Additional public participation. Mr. Dempsey.
Brian Dempsey, 6930 Owen Road. I disagree that much water is not so. There's always a risk of a well failing. We've seen what happened with that before. And for the new council in particular, that watching the report on it, you can see the dollar ticking on the big ticket items. A lot of this stuff you're going to be dealing with as council, and I had that experience. It's pretty mundane, but it's really important to do the mundane stuff too. And one of the things that is in that report, we just basically touched on, is that you look at the study that you're going to be spending approximately, recommended to spend approximately about $300,000 a year on replacing wire lines. It's not dramatic, it's not sexy, but it's the kind of stuff that has to be done. And that's, I hear people sort of in the past have said, that we're overspending that, well, we haven't heard anything yet. What you really need to do is start a while back just to look at asset management. And asset management will fill all those gaps for you. The 2014 annual report seems pretty mundane too. Nothing special, nothing really secret in there. The only thing that came out of that was maybe was the water agreement. But that didn't happen because one council or one mayor, and that took a long time. I think in the 2015, that's looking at what's happening now, it's going to be another mundane year. But Mr. Mayor hasn't provided you with, if you looked at the Phantom Road is on time, on budget, so we can talk about that. But also we'll have an opportunity to have not one, not two, but 3 new senior staff on the cabinet. And I really have a problem with seeing council going into in-camera meetings and coming out with reports done or highly not recommended by your legal counsel to bring out legal advice. It seemed to me that that came out with suddenly. But what I'm really looking forward to is the next council meeting that the minutes of the very last in-camera meeting that is held. That could come out. Seems to be that for a lot of reporting on those kind of things. I don't know what else happens to that. So one suggestion that when you're looking at that report and you identify perhaps the geography in the area, people that they need water, may not need it, may want water, may not. It'll come down to a vote if people are in there. But perhaps the one improvement that can be done to the amount of News First Nations, working with the city of London and Nemo First Nations, to get water to their reserve too, because they've got the same problem as Lancel has. I think if that project was to go ahead that way, it'd be a win-win for everybody, and maybe there would be some opportunities to get some grants. First Nations have more opportunity grants than we do.
Thank you. Mr. Boyd.
Brian Blood, 707 Bradford Road. It's a small item, but it's symbolic, I think, of how some of the things don't get done properly in this municipality. Over the last year, a couple of times in this room, I asked for bicycle racks. This is the municipality that talks about bicycles, and if you're going to talk the talk, you should walk the walk, and you should provide bicycle racks so people can safely walk their bicycles here and talk them home. That was taken up by Councillor Hain, and I see that some bicycle racks were purchased. Now, at least on one of those occasions when I suggested bicycle racks, I said, please, before you make a final purchase, before you make a decision, consult with scientists, consult with the user group. And obviously that hasn't been done. The bicycle racks that are outside this building, and I presume it's the same one down at Boston Hall, it's the very worst choice for a bicycle rack, and it's not one that I would ever risk placing my bicycle in. It resembles one of those metal bending templates, and that's exactly what will happen to the bicycle wheels that go in it. It's a small concrete groove that locks, that holds about the bottom 3 or 4 inches of the front wheel of your bicycle and nothing else. And you're supposed to then lock to the pins down below. I regularly use the bicycle racks at Save-On Foods, at the Superstore, and the new library. You should go and have a look. To lock a bike safely, you need to lean it and lock the strong upper frame. Those will destroy bicycles, and in fact, they will, anyone moving a bike next to it that puts the slightest lateral pressure on it, goes to front wheel dancing around. So it represents not just a waste of taxpayers' money, and it illustrates a lack of consultation with the user group. It remains a liability to the public as long as it's there, and it should be removed quickly.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Savage.
Yeah, sorry, I meant to mention this before. Savage, just in terms of the in-camera meeting and what was said, just a question in terms of the topics discussed at that in-camera meeting. Did they fall within the limited powers that the province granted to 3-member council?
Yes. Mr. Howell.
Oh, it was a bit of trivia, really. With regards to this, and my son advised me that the amount of water that they sell to Japan in bottled water from the state of California is a tremendous amount of water, and yet the state of California is short of water. I just wanted to pick up on that.
It was something like 1 million liters a minute or an hour they were getting, wasn't it?
We could set up a debate between you two sometime.
Yeah.
When we have more time.
Any further public participation?
There it is. $2.25 per million liters is what Nestle's paying.
And I don't know if this is okay, I did ask this week tonight, and for once it's not regarding water. It's regarding my repaired seawall, and because I tend to prattle on this week. I'll start at the beginning. During the 25 years I've lived here, the only seawall I've seen was Stanley Ocean County during a storm and the 2 stone ones next over me. The riprap ones just keep rolling and slipping out in the shoreline.
Sorry.
The procedure bylaw indicates that discussions have to be for the matters of their own council.
Oh, I heard that as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's something that I'm working through the procedure to make sure that we tackle, make sure it's fair to everybody. So I appreciate it.
Councillor Hain.
Just for the Hilda's benefit, I believe that item is on the September 28th agenda, correct?
I wasn't notified that.
No, the agenda is not final. So, sorry, staff.
But we'll let her know when it's going to be on the agenda.
Absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Okay, there we go. Any further public participation? Okay, hearing none. Just question procedurally, we've always kind of read the whole thing. Do we have to read the whole thing in regards to the in-camera motion?
Your worship, normally the way when I've worked with previous councils is we attempt to say under section 90 and identify the subsections that we refer. You can say under section 90 and not have to read them out, or you can read the whole thing for those people who don't come to council. It's basically.
Okay.
It was the ombudsman's report emailed last year that sort of led to these longer motions, because they asked that it please be topic record, but it's personal information language.
So basically read the whole thing.
An abbreviated version of the whole thing.
Okay. So somebody could do a motion to go in camera. I was afraid to read it. We need a little bit more than that. Anybody? Otherwise, we do a motion to adjourn.
I'll read it.
Councillor Paulson.
I move the council closes the meeting to the public pursuant to section 90, subsection 1A, B, C, D, F, G, and I of the community charter for the purpose of considering personal information about an identifiable individual. I'm going to skip these parts. Personal information about an identifiable individual is being considered for municipal ward or honor. Labor or other employee relations, security of the property of the municipality, law enforcement, litigation or potential litigation affecting the municipality, and the receipt of advice that is subject to solicitor-client privilege.
There's a seconder for that. In the absence of a seconder, you can't second it. Seconded by Councillor Hain. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carried. So that puts us in camera.